What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. It's a big week here on the podcast, and Off the Record is still with us. Of course, if you want to use Off the Record, we have a new code for this year, TST25 on the Off the Record app. Throw away your old codes or go to offtherecord.com/TST. Why should you do such things? Well, let's say you get a ticket. You've been pulled over for something and are ticketed. Don't argue with that police officer on the side of the road. Instead, take that ticket and call or go on the app to Off the Record, and then they help fight that ticket, and most of the time, in most of the cases, make it either go away or drastically reduce it. It is the best. And if you use our code with the Off the Record app, again, that's code TST25, you'll save an additional 10%. Listen, Off the Record does not cost a lot of money compared to even just paying the fine and the ticket, let alone the other things about that moving violation that could cause problems with your insurance, your potential employment, etc. Don't plead guilty. Get Off the Record. Go to offtherecord.com/TST or use code TST25 on the Off the Record app. All right, on this episode of the podcast, Ed Niedermeyer is in studio. He is an author. His book, Ludicrous, is a must-read on the Smoking Tire reading list. He is a podcaster, co-host of the Autonocast, which is about AV development, with our good friend Alex Roy. He is a writer for Automotive News and a freelancer for a whole bunch of other things, and he is probably the most poignant Elon Musk critic since before it was cool. I love talking to him, and man, there's never been a better time to talk crap about Elon Musk. So it's 90 minutes of that with Ed Niedermeyer on the Smoking Tire.
It's so hard to know what the right thing to do in these situations is. I actually chose not to delete my tweets because I want him to train AI on it. Because it's all just
think of that.
Stuff that calls him out.
I didn't think of that.
I mean, I think
that
it's
is
a niche,
funny.
It's a niche thing for me. I don't think for most people, the calculus is going to be a little different. But
the AI that says
like,
he's like the misinformation king is fabulous.
I mean, I feel like that when I see shit like that, I'm like, that was what I was going for.
You're as usual, Ed Niedermeyer is one step beyond us mere mortals.
I'm also really lazy is the other thing. I'm good at coming up with excuses for my laziness.
Zach and I got booked on a very premium gig that was canceled at the last minute because of something I tweeted in 3 years ago.
No shit.
And if you read the tweet, you'd go, this is incredibly benign.
Yeah.
It was in which I referred to someone as an Elon Musk bootlicker.
You got dropped from a program for that?
I got dropped from a commercial gig.
Okay.
Not like nobody was like, you can't come drive the new GT3 because of this. No. No, no.
Who cares that much?
No, it was not related to reviewing cars. It was a high paid appearance commercial gig. Yeah. But like after that, I was like, well, my old tweets cannot help me in any way. Get the fuck out of here.
So you're just done with that now?
I own the handle because I don't want anybody else to use it, certainly. But every tweet I've ever tweeted is gone.
Okay, and you're not.
Ed, will you move the mic a little closer to yourself?
Sure.
You can raise it too. I know it's low.
There you go. Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Because do you have a Blue Sky handle, don't you?
I have a Blue Sky handle. I think I made a Mastodon handle.
Okay.
I have whatever the fucking other one.
Truth Social.
Threads.
Yeah.
You know, I made them just so that no one else could make them.
But that part of your life is over now.
No, I just like. Too much internet's bad for you, man. I don't know. I don't want to say you. That's irresponsible. Too much internet is bad for me.
Okay.
It's really bad for me.
Yeah.
And so obviously I have to have a minimum amount of internet. There's no fucking way not to, right?
Yep.
So I've chosen Instagram.
Okay.
I think it's probably one of the less evil ones. I mean, considering Zuckerberg is still one of the less, whatever.
Yep.
It's not like. It's not evil on the surface. It's not like, hey guys, this is evil. Like
it's a more nuanced kind of evil.
Yeah. And I did dip my toe in Blue Sky.
Yeah.
I dipped my toe in Threads, and both of them it was like, look, these are Twitter without Elon, which is better.
Right.
But it didn't make me feel any really much different. So I said, okay, let's not.
Yeah.
But you as someone who speaks truth to power to their faces. I do it from this chair. You do it to their faces a lot. It's important for you to be on those things.
Yeah, I mean, it is also. I think the short form microblogging is just it has its hooks in me. Like, there's something about that format that I really like.
It's worked well for you in the past.
It has, and it's better now. I mean, I think
that's probably how I found out about you. No, I found out about you from Truth About Cars.
Yeah, maybe.
I've read you as far back as Truth About Cars.
Maybe even Alex.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But you're good at the Twitter format.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
There's something about being because I'm like naturally long-winded, which is why I'm good at. I enjoy podcasts, but then it's good to be forced to right? And people on podcasts can't keep me concise. So.
I can't hold you down.
Well, it's weird, right? What works in 2025 is either incredibly short or incredibly long.
That's
and
absolutely
almost
right.
nothing in between,
There's no
right?
Right. That's so my most natural format for expression, weirdly, in writing is like 1,000 word. So I was at Bloomberg View for a number of years, and like the 1,000-word op-ed is, but I did it so much, I got really, really, but there's just no market. No one reads that shit anymore. Yeah. It's either the little quip, right, or it's the 7 hour
I fuck with Behind the Bastards, and they're doing 4 or 5 hours on a person.
Yep.
And that person's always horrible, and so it's just. I think there's, among other things, we have no attention span, obviously, right? Yeah. No one has an attention span, but we also have longer commutes than ever.
Yeah,
and so we just have so much time to fill in the fucking car.
This is the thing that I forget about living in Portland, because I literally don't get in a car Monday through Friday.
It's nice.
It's so nice.
It's nice.
It's so nice. I mean, literally, maybe once a week or twice a week.
But you work from home?
I work from home.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I work from home. Grocery store is 2 blocks away. Bars, restaurants, whatever. It's all, 5, 10, 15-minute walk. Jump on the bike if I want to go a little further. Honestly, it's I forget how spoiled I am all the time.
That is a nice thing.
Yeah.
We used to have that when we lived in Venice, and we don't have that at our new place, and we didn't. We love our new house and we like our new neighbors, but we did not realize that what we were missing by not having that.
Yep.
And it was like, ooh, short-sighted on that one a little bit.
It's crazy when your situation changes, your physical environment changes like that. Like it really is. It's like the fish in the water. Like you just don't. You take it for granted, whatever it is, right? And then it's only when it changes that you realize. Like for me, it's coming to California. I go to the Bay Area a lot for work and stuff, and I just remember, holy shit, this is why people, cannot wait for self-driving cars to be here. This is why people consume 4-hour podcasts. These are all things that, I have a hard time understanding until I go and, I'm in a physical space that most other people live in, which is really different.
I consume an enormous volume of podcasts because my transit time is insane.
I bet.
Just always.
Yep.
And I'm at the high. I mean, but my general manager here, dude, I think every single one of my employees here commutes an hour each way or more. And the fires have made it way worse. PCH being closed from the fire is fucking shit up.
Yep.
If you live in the valley right now, north of LA, and you quote over the hill right now is hell.
Yeah.
Because everyone west of the Palisades has to lap around. It is fucked up. It's really
when LA people and Angelinos are like, the traffic's bad,
Bro, what? Let me ask a question, Zach Clapman and Ed. Why aren't they running a fucking ferry? Why isn't there a ferry going from somewhere in western Malibu to the Santa Monica Pier?
Western Malibu is because they have to go all the way around. That's a good question. That'd be a pretty good idea.
I bet you a ferry is shorter than driving all the way around in morning traffic.
You'd have to build a pier or something.
Not necessarily a car ferry, a person ferry.
No. But you have to do that plus Uber because so many people in LA, I think, live. Do they work in Santa Monica? Do they work in Beverly Hills?
But there's
it's the
rail at Santa
solution.
Monica.
I'm just saying.
You could if it came into Santa Monica, you could get on the
train
rail.
is right there.
Way quicker than driving.
It would be an alternative for people who wanted an alternative.
Yeah,
but I'm sure there's 10 good reasons why no one's done this, but like
it's only like a 4
the
mile
sea
drive.
is still there.
Yeah.
Not to swim in. You can't swim in it.
Yeah.
The surfers have to go to Orange County.
Okay.
Because the toxic shit from the fire.
Oh,
you
really?
can't go in the
I
water.
hadn't heard about this.
Oh, no, it's going to be like years before you can go in the water. Yeah, it's like fucked up.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it's all it's all bad.
Yeah.
There's nothing good.
Yeah.
Nothing good.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, let's start on a real fucking downer, Ed. What's going on with you?
Oh, just normal, chill stuff.
Yeah, to go to an uplifting place.
Yeah.
What have you been covering lately?
How does it feel to be writing a book about a person who then ends up taking over the entire government before you finish the book? That's question number 3 I have written down here.
I feel like people are like, did you see this coming? And it's like, it's really weird to have been one of the biggest Elon Musk haters and like not at all have predicted that it could have gotten this bad.
You don't have that Sarah Kendzior weight of being right.
Yeah.
No.
I've been right about some things.
Oh no, you were right about a lot.
I just had no idea that it could possibly get
Do
as
you
bad
think
as
you
it has.
bullied him into this behavior with your
No.
fact-based book?
My conscience is clean on that one.
Yeah.
No.
You're to Musk what Obama was.
You
to
hurt him
Trump.
so deeply,
If you
he's
didn't
like,
make fun of him, he never would have done this. You made him do it.
Yeah, I would love to take credit. Well, actually,
No, you don't.
No, but that's the fucking bully. That's the bully argument, right?
Yeah.
If you just fucking shut up and left me alone, I wouldn't have to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like
Look what you made me. Look what you made me do.
Straight abuser mentality. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Ed's first book, Ludicrous, is a must-read. TST reading list, absolute must-read. In fact, I would like go so far as to call it like a starting point, because me and Ed have been calling this guy a piece of shit for a really long time, and now everybody else gets to learn.
Yeah.
If they didn't at Twitter,
right.
If they didn't at Twitter, now they're going to learn.
Well, and I think it's good, and this would be my big sales pitch here, but like it's I'm all for hating on people, but like the best thing about being a hater is that you actually learn things. Like actually, that's the really interesting thing about the Tesla thing. For years, I remember realizing a really long time ago that the fans understood less than the haters.
Yeah.
Because like for them, it was all about like lore. Essentially, they were like Tolkien fans or like Star Wars fans or something, where it's like all about reciting and sort of building this sort of like largely imaginary world of like lore.
God,
whereas the
it sounds
haters
so culty.
whereas the haters
But I think that's
like
true of any
language
fan
and-
group, right? The fan
Yes.
groups aren't going to look into the truth of something.
Yeah.
They're going to look at what they like and silo themselves, or that's why whataboutisms are so popular, because someone goes, "You shit on my floor," and you're like, "Well, what about the time your dog pooped on my floor," or whatever, and you don't want to look at the actual truth.
Yeah, and so you're exactly right. They won't engage with the criticism because they can't. There's just they know there's nowhere to go with it,
Yeah.
and so they just sort of ignore it. And as a result, they end up preventing themselves from learning about the thing that they're supposedly a fan of. There's a real deep irony to it, and it's been really kind of fascinating.
But if you learn too much about it, it might make you question your view of that thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
The
therefore,
one thing,
it threatens your allegiance to the tribe.
because learning, right, is about thinking critically about stuff. It's about questioning things and trying to figure out like what is the actual answer here. And the whole dynamic is him spoon feeding you some slop that you just num 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 num,
Yeah.
and don't question it. And as soon as you start thinking for yourself, it becomes very difficult. And this was even in the early days, it was sort of easier, and it just got harder and harder and harder to think for yourself and continue to just be a fan. And so you saw like smart people. There used to be smart Elon fans. Once upon a time, I remember there being smart Elon fans, and like there just aren't anymore.
DeleteMe, who are supporting today's episode. They make it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. You know what I mean? Like we trade our safety and our privacy for you know what I mean? We trade our privacy for convenience. We order stuff online. We make accounts with websites. Whenever we're spending and shopping and engaging with the internet, they are taking our data and selling it. That's how it works. Using data brokers who make a profit off of your data. It's a commodity. People can buy your private data, which can lead to identity theft, phishing, harassment, or possibly worse. For me, the problem was really spam phone calls. They were coming in hot like missiles every day, multiple times a day. And I got DeleteMe, and you sign up and you tell them all this information about yourself, which they then use to search the internet and try to scrub it all from the data broker websites. And after a couple of days, DeleteMe sent me an email, and they had found like thousands of stuff. And every month they sent me an email with thousands of items that they are trying to delete off the internet for me. It's an ongoing thing. It's not a one-time thing. I'm real into it. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe now at a special discount for our listeners. You can get 20% off your DeleteMe plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/tire and use promo code TIRE at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/tire and enter code TIRE at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/tire and then use code TIRE. And now back to the program.
Yeah. Well, the so many lies became really obvious if you were not incentivized to not see. I mean, so few cults throughout history have an actual financial reward structure built in to not calling out the bullshit.
Yep.
Which is really wild. I mean, pick your cult.
Yeah.
How can you know? Do you know of any other cult where you're financially incentivized to keeping up the bullshit? That's kind of a crazy thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are definitely religions that have sort of economic mutual development as part of it, and
and
beneficial
pyramid scheme
society.
type stuff.
There's like that Kundalini yoga. I watched that documentary about that little cult thing, and the financial incentive was you're in the community, and where they lived at this property, like you have everything provided for you, and so if you go against it and get ostracized. And especially if the longer you've lived in the cult, the less you know how to operate in the normal world. So I think people get stuck there. Yeah.
40 years I've been asking permission to piss.
But Matt, you're right though that like it is pretty unique to have this kind of cult or religion where it's like if you tell this story, if you evangelize this story, this narrative, and more people accept it as true, you will, as a stockholder, become more wealthy.
Yeah.
And that's one piece that's super unique. The other piece is the tools with which to do that, which is the internet.
Right.
That's the other piece that's really unique. And I think that you take those two pieces and you put almost in a way, we're lucky that it wasn't some weirder religion that sort of grabbed those two pieces first. In a way, the fact that it was an electric car. It's just an electric car company. You know?
Like what if Elron was fucking doing it, right?
There's a lot of personalities that you can imagine with those two pieces if they'd figured it out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's definitely happening now also.
Well, that's
but
the car's
preview
different.
of coming attractions, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah.
This trailer sucks.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've been saying for a while, for all the bad, and I was saying this more before, Elon really, hit his top gear or whatever.
Yeah.
But, in a lot of ways, the danger of Elon is not just what he does, but it's the example he sets.
Of course.
And all of the copycats are going to come.
It's that like stochastic kind of terror vibe where you just sort of push shit in a way where someone is going to do some fucking crazy thing.
Yep.
And then you can be like, all I said was it. And then that sounds an awful lot like January the 6th. I don't know, but maybe it does. That just sounds a little bit kind of the same.
Well, and in the whole, like, every accusation is a confession. That's, of course, now what they're accusing those of us who are involved in the protest movement of doing.
The one from today?
Yeah.
I did the thing I shouldn't have done. Woke up this morning, looked at some news. Like,
Ruined your day before you got out of bed. Yeah.
Well, you get Musk Watch. You must, right?
Yeah.
From Popular Information.
Yep.
You fuck with Popular Information is awesome. Judd Legum,
I've
very
subscribed to
data-driven calling out of spin bullshit. They have like Elon Musk with so much news, they spun off an entire newsletter that's and it's like 2,000 words twice a week. It's crazy.
I know. I see this stuff and I'm like, why am I working on a book right now that won't
you
be
could
out
be doing a
for like a
Substack
year?
for fucking all these people.
Yeah.
But just like from this morning, it was like Elon is up on stage handing out $1 million checks to quote voters in Wisconsin. And on stage, yelling about George Soros, like you're doing the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
My head is going to explode.
Yeah.
Fuck
No,
you.
and saying that the people who are pushing the quote unquote lies and propaganda are the ones that are like responsible for the violence and the vandalism. Like that's really exciting too when there's like an FBI task force,
Right.
and all that.
It's real
So,
dangerous.
yeah, chill times.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a good time to be a car fan.
Yeah. So make sure if you want to say something secretly, without them finding out, use Signal.
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's
Dude.
always just make sure you got a journalist on the chat.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's just, thank God they're so stupid.
I
right?
mean-
We can always fall when the government is falling apart, you can always count on stupidity to be the last backstop, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it mattered. They just deny it and they roll past it.
Yeah,
and,
that's the
and
problem.
it
Is
gets
the
swept up in
stupidity
all the
is almost
shit.
a strength at a certain point. So,
Anyway.
but yeah.
Yeah. But okay, so your Ludicrous ends. Like, the problem with this fucking guy is, where do you end a book?
Oh.
There's 4,000 words a week of news about this dude. So how do you pick where to stop? I mean, even the last book, I think FSD was like right on the thing and you had to stop, right?
Yeah, no, like writing a book about Elon Musk and his companies is the worst thing. There's a reason not very many people have done it, and it's because everything is moving, right? If you assume it's a year-long process, take any year from the last decade and look at what was happening with Tesla and Elon at the beginning of that year and at the end, and like it's just crazy. And you think about trying to write a book over that kind of period or really longer for Ludicrous. And it's bonkers. Like so by the time you get close to ending, things are changing a lot. With Ludicrous, I just dealt with that by really knowing up front that I wasn't going to be able to tell the whole story. There was going to be more story at the end, and I didn't know how it was going to end. And so I really tried to identify what are the dynamics from like the beginning of the company that have sort of fueled it. You know, every story has its sort of like dynamics that sort of drive it forward. And for Tesla, it was, this whole thing of like not understanding the car business, but being really good at the Silicon Valley fundraising game. And sort of that sort of slowly overcoming the problems of so making up for the problems you have on the car business side, right? Because you don't know what you're doing and you're one mistake after the other. But then you're like, okay, we'll plug the gap with all of this capital coming in
Way
from
more money. Money will fix this.
Yeah.
That's a great lesson to learn for life, isn't it, guys?
Well, and then essentially it became this self-driving fraud that is now, eclipsed the car company part of it, basically.
Yeah.
So that's what the second book now is about. It's about autopilot and full self-driving.
The FSD scam.
So it's not
Wait,
like
but what if it works before you finish the book?
Yeah, that's one risk I'm willing to run.
Dude,
that one. And there's a lot of uncertainty, and when you're dealing with as much uncertainty as I have to deal with, you focus on what's really uncertain and what isn't. And he's not going to deliver. That's not.
It's not happening.
Although the way it is timing, it is hard because the deployment is supposed to happen in June in Austin, and I have to absolutely have a draft in by then. Like, there's no way I can push it out that long. So there will be a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end. May do what I did with Ludicrous, which is add one chapter after a year, like a year after it comes out.
Yeah, I forgot you did that.
When the softback comes out, add another chapter, kind of catch you up a little bit. Probably will go down to Austin just to check it out. But at the end of the day, when a guy's like, I'm going to do this by the end of the year for 8 years, I can't put a damn draft on hold.
Of course.
Like, as a critic, it makes no sense for me to like put anything on hold thinking maybe he'll deliver on this thing.
And that's his game, right? I mean, his whole thing is he apparently everyone said he couldn't do any of the things that he's done. I'm not sure where all these people are that are like, you can't do this.
Yeah.
I don't know where those people are.
Yeah.
Maybe they exist.
I've never, like the SpaceX one is the one. Everyone said he couldn't land rockets. I've never found a single, I've looked too. I was like, who was the person writing op-ed saying this guy can't land rockets? I've never found one.
If anybody out there listens to this show and was in the room when people were like, listen, dude, you cannot land a rocket.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. I've never heard any of the shit he did being fought against by some major organization or even a small one or anything.
But this is
psychology
how
is you create an enemy, whether they exist or they don't exist, and that gets people on your side.
But then you have to apply that to everything else. Like, even if people said you can't land a rocket and you landed a rocket, what the fuck does that have to do with a car?
Yeah,
like,
nothing.
Nothing.
I mean, it doesn't even have anything to do with, like, why has SpaceX never turned a profit? I mean, like
I thought government should run like businesses. Damn it!
Like, it is cool to watch the rockets land. It is something that people can mentally process as like, oh yeah, if you reuse it, it saves money. People don't know about the rocket business. You know what I mean? People don't understand it.
Yeah.
Why has it never turned a profit?
Well, that's like that. That the greatest tweet of all time, which was like, when Elon was building electric cars and everyone said he was a genius, I didn't know anything about electric cars, so I just listened. And when everyone said he was a genius with the rockets, I just listened. But I'm a software engineer and I've never seen dumber shit than this Twitter thing.
It's called the realization.
And you're like, yeah.
Yeah. No, and literally for me, it was I just happened to be into battery swap.
The battery swap thing.
It's such an obscure thing.
Someone who actually has delivered on battery swap, BYD?
Neo.
Neo.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, it was funny. I was supposed to go to China. And then Neo ran into some kind of financial. I had I was getting my visa, and then they ran into some financial trouble, and they got bailed out. Obviously, they're still around, but the trip got canceled.
Oh, bummer.
So I would like to see it someday. I still, I think like a lot of things in China, it's really exciting and really they're pushing the envelope in so many different ways. It's where all the action is in the car business. I don't know how really sustainable as a business all of that really is. I still don't fully understand how the privately owned car model works with battery swap.
I don't either.
Yeah. So, look, when I'm done with this book, I'd love to go to China and learn more.
I just read a story about a new breakthrough in battery recycling as well.
Oh, cool. Something
that is able to break the battery into quite small pieces that become usable, essentially. I mean, it was a. I don't want to say the wrong thing, so I don't want to try to guess exactly what it said, but it was a pretty interesting breakthrough in battery recycling, which is something that a lot of anti-EV people and even a lot of good faith EV people like myself are like, well, what happens end of life? So I'm interested in that as a topic.
Yeah, especially with the big battery model that we're sort of pursuing. I mean, we'll see if, it seems like the market is sort of tapped out here with that approach. But, if we're going to move to a world where we just replace all the cars with, 300-mile EVs, if we don't have what they call a circular supply chain, it just isn't going to happen.
It's going to be really problematic.
And we don't want it to be like the plastic thing where it's like recycling is a bit of a lie.
Oh my God.
And I mean, it causes all kinds of problems. But if they said that they could recycle the batteries, but they're just dumping it somewhere, it seems like an even bigger problem.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
people. I mean, what's cool is the market does usually respond to things. So someone, if they can figure it out, there's a business for it, right? If you
I
really
think these technologies
strip
do
down
exist.
these batteries.
The technology is there. It's just is it?
Can you scale it? Is it financially?
I think like a lot of things, a lot of it is just sort of setting up supply chains. Like, how do you get everyone's used phones and used devices and funnel them, the batteries from them and those materials all to, it's a different kind of supply chain. I think that people fixate on the technology. And a lot of times, like in the car business, there's not a lot of cutting edge technology necessarily in car factories. People assume that's where these advantages come from. A lot of times it's just, organizing stuff and having a supply chain built up and operating at, kind of mundane stuff that people just sort of take for granted because it's not
shaving
some cutting edge
half
technology.
a second here in process.
Yep.
Yeah.
Save 10 cents apart. Yeah.
Oh, dude, there's just there's so many things going on right now. So we just were talking 2 episodes ago about this dude's video where he showed a LiDAR car versus the camera-based system. And Mark Robert, thank you. And so you've now spent how much time studying FSD? And is there anything drastically new to learn? Guys, support for The Smoking Tire comes from the podcast Drive with Jim Farley. You know Jim Farley. He's the CEO of Ford. Not only that, this guy has a GT40 and a Cobra and all kinds of amazing vintage American metal that he races wheel to wheel at places like Goodwood. He's a boss, and you got to check out this show. It's where Jim talks to some of his favorite people about what they drive and what drives them to succeed. They just started season 3 with some sick new guests, including Vicky Butler Henderson, the British racing driver and fifth gear personality, Randy Nonnenberg from Bring a Trailer, and T-Pain, the musician turned drifter. The guy's got skills, actually. I listened to it the other day. It is great. Jim is a great interviewer. He's insightful, and it's interesting hearing these folks open up to him. I really am about it. I support Jim's venture here. To listen to Drive with Jim Farley, just search Drive with Jim Farley in any podcast app. That's Drive with Jim Farley. And thank you for supporting this episode. Is there anything drastically new to learn about the HW4 versus HW3? I mean, is any of this shit meaningfully getting closer to what the 1,000 Waymos a day I see running around my city without people driving them are doing?
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's just a matter of automation as a technology works a certain way, and so it's funny. When Ludicrous came out, I needed to get away from the journalism thing, and I went to Partners for Automated Vehicle Education, which is like this public education thing, and I spent almost 2 years there. I spent a lot of time thinking about not trying to come up with new information about these technologies, but thinking about how to explain them in a really digestible way, because that was really what the issue was. The issue has never been that there's secrets to this technology that are totally beyond comprehension,
right,
to mere mortals. It's that you have to kind of break it down into what essentially a mental model. I for myself, I don't even have a bachelor's degree, right? How is it that I've been able to talk to a lot of people? I could not engineer an autonomous vehicle, right? But I have a good mental model. Yeah. That was the big breakthrough for me, was understanding the mental model. And so one of the things I've tried to do with this book is, or that I'm working on right now with this book is to just explain this technology in a really simple way. And I think the big breakthrough for me was understanding that the way people misunderstand it the most, and the reason people believe in Tesla and what they're doing is because when you say autonomous vehicle, people build a mental model for the technology that's based on what they know. And what they know is cars and vehicles. So they think it's a car that drives itself. Okay? And, right? It makes sense. But the problem is that a car has these two features. One is that it's affordable enough for you to own, and the other is that it goes everywhere.
Sure.
Right? Whether you're driving a mile or 1,000 miles, mountains, desert, wherever, it has to work everywhere.
Same car.
So it's essentially level 5, what we call in the automation, and affordable enough for you to own. Well, those are the two hardest things for this technology to do.
Yeah.
So if you build your mental model around a car, you're going to have a very skewed, that mental model is based on the attributes of not just a car, but a gas car, really.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's going to confuse you about the technology. Instead, what you want to do is think of it as a robot, right? Because that's really what it is. It's automation. And so in automation, you have it's a spectrum of automation, right? So on one end of that spectrum, you have something like a self-driving car, which is also what Elon is selling, which is a humanoid general-purpose robot, right? That's the self-driving car of robots.
Yeah.
Because it does everything. It's one device that does it all, right? And that is the hardest thing to automate. There is no general-purpose automation. The other end of that spectrum is like an arm with a tool inside of a cage.
Yeah, yeah.
And so you have this spectrum of robots. So the humanoid general purpose robot is science fiction. It's C-3PO. It doesn't exist. It's not real. But that doesn't mean robots aren't real. Robots are very real. The arm and the tool in the cage makes millions of dollars every second around the world, Yeah,
yeah.
And so there's this so you have to ground people in an understanding of what the technology is. The reason that Tesla will never be able to deliver is the same reason that people want to believe in it, right? It's not technologically plausible, but it's how they've presented it is what people want. They just want their car that they own, right? People are immersed in car culture.
I want everything about a car that also can drive itself anywhere at any time.
That's right.
Which is fucking not happening anytime soon.
It's a fantasy. And if you understand that fundamentally what you're doing, again, it's just on a mental model level. There's a lot of intricacies to the technologies and they're evolving with time, but fundamentally you're building a model of the world, right?
Yeah.
And a model that helps you make decisions about how you navigate in the world. And if you think about, like a goldfish bowl, you can make a data model, right? You scan everything in that, all of the different things that are in it. It's constrained. It's finite. And so, and it's like a game of chess, right? Where, or Go, where it's very complex, but it's constrained complexity.
Yeah.
And so you can build models that are really, really better than humans at these kinds of constrained things. The other thing that you have to do is you have to give the agent basically perfect information. Right? In a game, like you play chess or Go, there's no confusion about where the pieces are.
Right.
Everyone knows, right? That's hard to do in driving.
Sure.
And this is why you need the robust sensor suites, right? So you need LiDAR and radar and really cutting edge expensive
acoustic and whatever.
Yeah, ultrasonic. Yeah. So that's why Waymo is working and Tesla isn't. Is that Waymo is treating this like a robot? They're saying a taxi never leaves the city, so you have constrained domain, and they're doing a job. It's a revenue stream.
It's a commercial
and so
enterprise.
It pays off the cost of the sensors and everything.
Yeah.
This is a robot doing a job.
Yeah.
That's not what a car is. Yeah. So that's why that works.
Yeah.
And that's why Tesla isn't working, is because what Tesla's trying to do is just fundamentally so different.
Yeah. I'll tell you what it does do is it fucking derails public transit really nicely. And it basically allows you to just continue selling a fantasy mostly indefinitely.
Yeah. So this is the thing, and like, I feel like you're one of the only people I can like kind of talk to about this, because we were talking about this before we started recording, but the Venn diagram, right, of like people who understand and are into cars, but also see that there are other better ways of doing things.
Right.
There's not a lot of folks that fall in that divide.
Well, yeah, because it's car dependents and car enthusiasts, and they're not the same thing.
Yes.
And the most car enthusiastic people I know also fucking hate traffic and congestion and things like that in a pretty equal measure.
Yeah. What's fascinating is that there's this real divide in driving automation tech between people who get that this is something different than cars, that this technology fundamentally wants to be different than cars. It's not a natural fit for cars, versus the people who see that cars are this incredible, like cars have all this scale, right? Like a car company builds 10 million cars a year. If that can be your platform that you can, right, then that it's like the commercial appeal of that, plus the sort of, you don't have to change the market. You're meeting people where they are. There's all these things that make some people just say that, and Elon is one of them. Elon is the leading figure in this of like, nothing is going to change about how we get around. It's just that the car is going to drive for you. Versus, and I think one of the really interesting challenges is that it's hard for folks in the tech sector and who believe in this technology in a real way, the real version of it. It's almost overwhelming for them to argue like, hey, like this is different than cars. This is, but people appeal. Like technology appeals to people in a way that just saying like, hey, if we design cities in a different way, it would be better for like that's too abstract for people. I hopefully this cutting edge technology that has this like whiz bang thing, I think hopefully it will get people to start to understand mobility in a way that gets them. This starts to pull them out of this blindered view of cars are the only way.
Once they realize that personally owned self-driving cars are not a likely thing in their lifetime, maybe, but like, man, people want to live in the actual future so bad. Like the future that was like sold to us in like the 80s and 90s, like people will, and that the Silicon Valley sort of hockey stick valuation mindset is pretty much that if you will the fucking future here, it'll come to you. It'll just be here.
That's right.
And it doesn't fucking work like that.
Yeah. No, and again, I think car enthusiasts have can see this more clearly, because if you enjoy driving, right, you don't enjoy driving in the city. We've talked about this before. Like, it's not just a matter of like, it's better for everyone to automate inside the city where you're just stuck in traffic anyway, and then you go outside the city. It's also, that's how the technology works best.
Yeah.
Is if you constrain it to, right? And so it's like if you live on the edge of town, if you're going into the city, you take a robotaxi or a shuttle or something like that, because whatever, you're not having fun driving anyway.
Yeah.
And if you're going out of the city, that's where the automation is going to struggle with, weather and dirt roads and poor signage and like weird animals and other kinds of like randomness but that's where you want to drive anyway.
Yeah,
so there's actually this real alignment between how the technology works and this like coexistence of auto enthusiasm and like mobility as a commodity. Sort
of same thing for the EV daily driver and sports car for the weekend, assuming you don't live in a walkable place.
Right.
I don't covet a super fast EV to blast up a mountain on a weekend, right, but this fucking traffic jam right here, it is pretty nice.
Yep, absolutely.
But I've seen so much problems in cars solved with better training and better like Not even road design, like better like paint, like better road fucking painting.
Yeah.
Like better markers of what to do and sort of how to do it and avoiding of ambiguity kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like we're so ready to give up control of our vehicles to computers, and we're nowhere near what an optimized human driver looks like. Like not even close.
The thing that I really didn't expect was, you know, after almost 10 years of like riding in AVs and autonomous vehicles, and trying to understand and learn that technology, it's given me such an appreciation for driving.
Yeah.
It's like I've learned to see driving through new eyes. When you start to understand what is hard for them, so like one of the classic examples, one of the hardest things for an AV is like someone on a corner, and like people don't think about this as a pedestrian, right? But like if you are walking up to a corner, but then you sort of stop and you look around or you pull out your phone or whatever, like there's this ambiguity in your movements that are, it's literally from a statistical, like if you're using statistics essentially and data about the world around you to understand what is this person going to do, you become unpredictable at a certain point. Whereas if you walk straight and with like purpose,
all the demonstration is people walking across a road. It's not someone like hovering about going, oh, where am I going to go?
Yeah.
Well, that's body language that we've learned to identify as people, and you can go look at that person. Like if you're driving and approaching the corner and you're like, oh, they're slowing, phones coming out, they're looking both directions. Oh, okay, they're probably not sure which crosswalk to use, and we can kind of assess. But like the Waymo car might not be able to do that yet.
And we have the ability to put ourselves in that person's shoes without even thinking about it consciously. Like it really it not only makes you understand like how complex driving is, but it also makes you realize how much your subconscious brain is doing. You know, one of the things with Tesla that hit me really hard early on was like I realized people think the car is driving itself because the wheel is automated and the pedals are automated. What's driving? It's moving the wheel and operating the pedals. Except that no, those are the very last parts of the driving task. See, and this is again, you study this technology and they're like, there's this thing called the driving task. And what is that? Well, it starts with situational awareness.
Yeah.
What's going on around you? What are the static parts of your street scene? What are the dynamic parts? Of those dynamic parts, which ones are moving what speed? And like once you start to understand that a computer has to basically brute force all this stuff to understand what's going around it, and
they're doing it bottom up.
And
they're doing it just based on like, what are these pictures? And like humans go the other way.
Yeah, and we're doing it with
inverted.
A burger in our hand and like, you know, a phone call going. Like, and we're still able to like have these incredibly like nuanced perceptions of what people are doing right now and what they're about to do. It's incredible. And yeah, what I think the tragic part of it is that we don't appreciate, right? Like if you really understand the technology and you get into it, it makes you appreciate driving more. And I don't know, like it's kind of frustrating that people are so anxious to just get rid of that responsibility. For me, I see a parallel also with like political stuff. People just sort of like to abdicate responsibility generally. Yeah. People feel like I want to wield ultimate power. I want to have 500 horsepower or whatever, but like I don't want to have to try too hard.
Yeah.
Like I kind of want to just be like lazy about it. And it's like this is kind of how we live our lives in like so many ways.
Yeah, I want all the power. I want none of the responsibility.
Yeah.
And but yeah, that sounds right.
But the problem is that when you
literally that sounds so much like America.
But when you look at the solutions that we're holding out hope for, not only are they far off from delivering everything we want them to.
We'd rather have sci-fi. We'd rather wait for the possibility of sci-fi
than do the hard work
than
ourselves.
move a fucking sidewalk
Mm-hmm.
or something like that we already know how to do.
That's right.
Yeah, and works in other places.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah, it's insanity.
Yeah. It's a little bit like religion in its own way, you know, like something will just descend and just sort of take care of, right? It's like
yeah, life's shitty, but like don't worry,
yeah.
we got you in heaven.
Yeah, there's a joke at the fall of the Soviet Union that there's two ways that Russia was going to sort of turn it around. There's the unlikely way and the impossible way. Like the unlikely way was that the clouds would part and the Archangel Michael would come down and magically fix everything. And the impossible way was that the Russian people would roll up their sleeves and just fix it themselves. It's a little...
Oh, God, this doesn't sound familiar at all, does it? Shit. God. It's all good. Everything's good. Everything is good.
I'm having a great time.
Yeah. What makes you happy these days?
Going to Tesla protests.
Have you been going to Tesla protests?
This last week was the 7th week in a row that I basically organized the Portland one.
Really?
And by organized, I posted about it on Blue Sky.
That's
and people show up. Yeah.
How many people showed up?
550, I think, was the count last week.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And what are they doing when they're there?
Oh, so that's the best part. It gets more and more fun every week. So we got bubbles. We have like 3 different DJs. Like it's
That's
a party.
awesome.
People. I've been for the 2nd week in a row. I realized I had this. It's a costume that I had. It's Katy Perry Left Shark. You know, from the. It's that shark.
Yeah, I remember.
And I just realized, like, I've been trying to make it fun.
Costume,
like.
huh?
Many years ago, for reasons that we don't need to get into, I happened to have it lying around, and I realized, like, because I've never done this before. I'm an internet guy or whatever, and like you realize you're on the side of the road, you're really protesting for the cars driving past.
Yes,
You
definitely.
got to be visible. You got to catch their eyes. So I started thinking about the signs. How do we make signs that are like as visible as possible with messages that really hit people? And I realized, like, wait, if I put on this shark costume like that, and oh boy, does it get
The
people's
shark
attention.
works. Yeah.
So we have like in the median on this like quite busy road, we have like a dance party essentially with like bubbles. I'm in my shark costume with a sign that's like sell today, and like we're just having fun.
You're like a sandwich card spinner, but with like a better
Essentially,
message. Yeah.
I have huge respect for the people who do that job. It's a lot of work.
Can I ask what is the agenda or objective of the protest?
Yeah, so the goal is to. It's funny because I think when it first started, the goal was just sort of like, hey, this Elon's doing bad things. Elon owns this company. We're just going to go to the stores as a way to
just to express your
it's just where
distaste.
we should
Yeah,
protest,
sure.
right? It's like protest has this reflex, and that's great. And I think for a lot of people, that's what it's about. The cool thing about the Tesla protest is that it's diverse. People are coming there, all ages, all backgrounds. Like you read the signs, and they all have different. You'll have sort of, I think the people I consider my people who are like, sell the stock, sell the car. But you see people with the Ukraine flag. You see people talking about Constitution, about USAID. There's, Elon's pissing off all these people for all these reasons. A lot of people who are coming in are brand new to protesting. Some of them are old folks who've been protesting forever. Some of them are brand new. For me, what I'm trying to bring to the movement is this idea that, like, this guy's vulnerable. And the thing is that people don't realize. People look at the wealth on paper that he has, and it's like compared to it's like the Death Star, right? It's just like this overwhelming thing, and it's just like, oh, we can never, billionaires in America, we can never do anything about this, right? The thing is that Tesla is his only company that has ever turned a profit ever. None of his companies have ever, at least maybe
and
not
even
ever.
even then, it's like not actually that much, right?
It has never, and again, I don't have like the exact number, but it's not like, again, it's not like saying we need to boycott Facebook and Amazon, which are hard products to pull people away from and very profitable companies. No, this is $50,000 vehicles or more that have really adequate competition.
Yeah.
And are frankly kind of getting outdated a little bit.
They're old cars.
Yeah, so they're expensive.
The only car they have that isn't old sucks.
Yeah. So that's kind of, we have the momentum on our side. So like most of the time when you're boycotting, it's because you're up against like this unstoppable force. We have it the opposite. The business is already crashing. Like it's really at an inflection point. The U.S. market is the inflection point of the inflection point. And so the goal is to stigmatize the brand, to let people know, like, hey, like, you want to go buy a Tesla, you're going to see your neighbors out there saying, fuck that, right? You want to service a Tesla, you're going to see your neighbors out there saying, fuck that. You want to supercharge? Same deal. Like, don't, because the thing is that this is the only way to support Elon.
Yeah.
It's his only source of cash.
He doesn't have a meme coin yet. He will.
It is his meme coin. It's been.
That's actually, God damn it, that's true.
It's been his meme coin since 2013.
It is a fucking meme. It's like,
before that term existed.
Damn it. Yeah.
This is why I think he's having problems with XAI and this other stuff, is because those are also basically meme coins. They're all meme coins, essentially. And people are like, it was sort of easier when it was like, oh, Tesla's the when like SpaceX would do a launch and all of a sudden Tesla stock would go up because it was the meme coin. Now it's like a little more confusing about like which is how does that all work?
Which stock should be affected by the Sieg Heil?
Yeah, right.
And then which stock should be affected by the second Sieg Heil?
Yeah.
Just to confirm the Sieg Heil.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's important to do two.
He co-signed it himself.
Co-signed the second one, yeah. It's okay.
Importing white South Africans, like it's so mind-boggling. But yeah, that's what makes me honestly. And what I tell people, right? It's like he's vulnerable.
Yeah.
We can bring him down if this stock keeps crashing. Like if their Q3 numbers
Where does
suck,
it have to get to for it to become like, I don't know if it's not like margin call, but like
we got a ways to
that level.
So for the margin call, we have a ways to go.
Yeah.
But the reality is that if a stock is not built on fundamentals, it's built on vibes. Mm-hmm. And the momentum, he's always had the momentum. Like for a decade, like I've been reporting stuff that would be a big problem for any other company. And like maybe the stock, myself and others, by the way, lots of other people have been reporting really like horrible stuff about this company. The stock would maybe go down a little bit and then it would go right back up. Mm-hmm. Now they're the ones fighting momentum. They're the ones where the stock went down for like 2 weeks and they had to get the president up there, like, you know, selling cars in front of the White House.
That was sad.
And that got them like 3 days of like half-hearted bump and then, you know, heading right back down again. And so we have all the momentum on our side. Plus, it gets us out from the doom scrolling, gets us out from behind the computer.
Gets you
connect
outside,
with
vitamin D, exercise.
man.
Seriously, go.
What's
like,
your
hang out with
favorite
other cool
nickname
people who get
for
it.
a Cybertruck?
Oh man,
I'm really kind of vibing with Wank Panzer.
Yeah, I think
right
Wank
now.
Panzer is kind of the
Vonk
pretty
Panza. Vonk Panza is
Vonk
quite
Panza,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the swastika thing. I mean,
swastika, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
One of the signs.
Incel Camino is still my favorite.
Incel Camino.
Incel Camino.
Yeah,
Damn,
I saw a couple weeks ago.
That's
I was like,
fucking
I didn't come up
solid.
with it. That's genius.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the signs I made for the protest is it says all Teslas look like Cybertrucks to me. And then it's the metal urinal that looks like a Cybertruck, you know, the triangular metal urinal.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to do it because I do feel like the people in the Model 3s, the Model Ys feel a little like safe and anonymous. Because it's like, oh no, everyone's like focused on the Cybertrucks. And I kind of want to be like, no, we see you too.
What if like if Elon left the company and not shadow CEO like quote left, but really was doing all the things, but if the board, which if they grew a spine first and then formally kicked him out. And I say that because they reward him this giant compensation package, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But like, what if he was removed from it? Would then you have this, and you and other people have this like antagonism towards the brand, or is it more about him?
I mean, so it's a good question. I just don't think it's possible. Or no, anything's possible. I think it's vanishingly unlikely.
Yeah.
And I think you're
Saint
absolutely
Michael will come down before that will happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's the compensation package, like you mentioned. That was the litmus test, right? Like if you're going to go up against the Delaware Chancery Court, right, and say that like Delaware corporate law is what's the problem.
Yeah.
Like that's you're never as a corporate board, you know, of a company that's worth the rest of your industry combined.
Accountable,
You're never gonna step back from that. So as far as I'm concerned, like that was I wondered about this a lot until about a year ago, and when that came out, I was like, that's it. Like there's no AEB here. Like Elon's gonna drive this into the wall, and like
if we're lucky, you know, it'll be like before he wrecks the entire country. If we're lucky.
I mean, Tesla is getting wrecked faster than the country. It's close.
Yeah.
It's close. He's working hard on both.
It is.
But Tesla's in
Tug
really...
of war between Tesla and the rest of the country, or collision course.
I mean, Tesla's basically been in sort of holding off like pretty significant decline for like 2 years now. They've just been lowering the price and lowering the margins, and like they can't do that forever. I think
are no other new models.
No.
Like facelifted Model Y, like... Okay.
The Model 3 staved off decline for what, like
6
a quarter,
months?
two?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Model Y will do
like,
the same.
And to be fair, like in a vacuum, like the Model 3 and Model Y are like, they're okay cars. There's nothing, I don't have anything like, they're like medium shitty, but they're not like that. They're not the only cars that are medium shitty.
But they're old.
Oh, for
They're
sure.
old, and the people who made those cars are gone. Doug Field, who is essentially like the guy, right? He's at Ford now. Like the talent. Again, we were talking about the fans, just like the smart fans left. The talent leaves for the exact same reasons that the smart fans do.
Yeah, what, you want to fucking defend your boss's Sieg Heil?
Do you want to have the Cybertruck on your resume as an automotive engineer?
Yikes!
I mean.
It was. We
You got
thought
professional and personal reasons to.
No, we thought it looked bad, and then we drove one, and it was like, holy shit! I thought it just looked bad, but like, this is terrible.
It's funny. Remember that electric scooter showed up for like 2 days, and the guy that designed that had also worked on Cybertruck, and that scooter fell apart in the first 12 hours, and they took it back.
Did you see that thing? The scooter. It's a scooter that looks like it matches with a Cybertruck.
The design language exactly. It's overpriced, and
I don't understand. I mean, look, I do like little. It's not. I don't want to call it micro mobility, but I love scooters and I like electric scooters and shit like that. But the $10,000 luxury moped,
that was not what was missing from the market.
there's so many of these things now, and some of them are beautifully made, admittedly. Yeah. But I rode one that like looked like a fucking Norton Commando, but was slower than my Vespa 300, and it cost $10,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, who the fuck is this for? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, and I mean the Cybertruck. I mean, 2% of their reservations were converted to sales, something like that.
Yeah,
2%.
Yeah.
8 recalls in the first year, and this is the thing that people have to look at, right?
2% is important because we said, people like you and people like me said, the low number on the reservation was a fucking scam to get people to go, oh, fuck it, I'll throw $100 at that and see if it sticks. And then they could go get a loan and say, we have 2 million reservations for this fucking thing, knowing full well they'd never convert that many sales. How big was the loan they got from that? Huge, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they were even raising capital at that point, but yeah, I mean, it certainly pumped the stock. I mean, they claimed over 1 million of them, and they ran out of reservations right when they supposedly hit gross margins, which means basically this vehicle has been a money loser, continues to be. There's no way they're making actual profits on it. I think it's going to be like the Model X. I don't think the Model X has ever made a profit as a program.
That's
I don't
a
think
bad car.
the Cybertruck ever will, unless they, I don't know, get the government to just buy a couple of years worth of production or something.
Did that pan out, that story of the 400 million supposed purchase of
the
Teslas?
deal is not done. It would be 400,000 over like 5 years.
400 million.
I'm sorry, 400 million. Yeah, $400 million worth of them over 5 years, which I don't remember what the unit, like how many units that comes out to. It would be helpful to them, but I don't think that alone will fix that.
It won't, but if they do a little bit here, a little bit here, some maybe
Get the Russians to buy some.
Maybe you gotta buy some. Yeah. Maybe you gotta buy some. I saw another story today that was like that there was some sort of government employee sort of savings account that they had to buy Tesla stock in.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, so and the thing with the Cybertruck too, it's not just. I mean, it's the biggest flop in the car business that I can remember in my lifetime. I think I don't know that there's been. In terms of having 1 million pre-orders?
Oh, hype versus well, because who takes no one takes pre-orders.
Yeah,
people they just when they're available to sell, you can order one. Yeah, this pre-order thing started with Tesla.
Yeah, well, exactly, and it's because right. So with Tesla,
am I making that up?
I mean, functionally, yeah. Like
I think it did.
Other than I don't know, maybe like limited edition Ferraris or something like that.
Maybe a limited edition Ferrari. Yeah, maybe. But for cars for regular people, that's not a thing.
Yeah. Well, and it's because they've always had, right, there's the Tesla that's right now, which is sometimes matters in terms of the stock price or whatever, but there's always what's next.
Yeah.
Always. As long as this company's been around, it's always what really matters is what's next. And the problem that they have now, I mean, among others, one of the biggest ones I think people are still just starting to like chew on a little bit and start to understand is that what the Cybertruck says about their ability to have anything next.
Yeah.
Because right now we're like the fans and the bulls are like waiting for them to show some new products, something to like get shit back on track, right? Get those old feelings back. Well, if the Cybertruck,
the Optimus robot ain't doing it.
There's no. I mean, I think even a lot of the fans understand that like that is way, way, way off.
Yeah.
And it's not going to. They're not going to have that out to people at a time that's going to make a material difference in what's going on with the stock. So what are they going to do, right? So they've done the facelift thing, but the Cybertruck is their only new product since the Model 3Y, which are essentially the same thing, basically, right? So it's their first all-new product in a decade, and it's garbage. Like, it's just bad. It's poorly conceived. Like, the batteries don't make sense. Like, there's all kinds of just really bad things about it. How you look at that and say, oh, no, but, like, they're going to come up with something else, and, like, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Well, What makes you think it's not going to be just another Cybertruck?
They need an all new like regular car, which is really hard.
Yep.
Really hard.
Yep. Like a mid-size crossover.
Yeah.
Where's their mid-size crossover? Like Jesus Christ.
Essentially an all new Model Y.
Yeah, or even like a bigger.
Slightly bigger, maybe. Yeah.
Like a better Model X.
Like a big, like something with a proper third row.
Yeah.
That right. Look. That's what all the the EV9 and everyone's coming out with.
They essentially made a Model X that didn't have the fucking gull wing. It had regular Model Y doors, and it was essentially a 3-row Model Y.
Yep.
Maybe they call it the XXY. Just really fucking freak about, but
The XXL.
yeah. Oh, that's
that was
better. That's better.
Call me Tesla.
That's better.
My
Yeah.
consulting services.
I like that. I think we have a few on the Patreon, and we should get to those. Patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. You want to ask our guests questions. You want to watch the live stream. You want to get the show before everybody else. You want to get an ad-free listening experience and more. Patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast. Ted Stryker says, is it, I think this is maybe sort of, no, not that. Ted Stryker says, is it possible for Tesla to right the ship if they decided to, or is it too late?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's too late. I think, getting new product to market is going to be hard. The idea that when they get new product to market, it's going to be something compelling that's going to get the sort of sense of progress. It's sort of the iPhone problem, right? Where it's like you got the iPhone, you can sort of update it, but like, what is the new thing that like really brings the energy and
Yeah, Apple hasn't sold me a new thing in a very long time that I'm interested in.
Yep, and the fundamental problem really with Tesla is that it's the strength and the weakness is that it's a cult, right? And we were just talking about a cult in the modern era with the financial incentives and the internet. We've seen what is possible with that, but we also have seen what the downside is, which is that the talent leaves, the smart fans leave, the energy just sort of goes because it just becomes all about this guy, and then the board literally can't stop him from doing the dumbest shit possible all the time.
Replacement theory.
Yeah. So honestly, like I'm shocked that the stock is not falling faster, just because if you really game out what could turn this all around, like it's really just a binary bet on FSD. And so I guess by the end of this year
next year. By the end of next year. Limited Slip When Wet says a Model X is one of the few used EVs that fits my family. How would you de-musk one? How is that true? How is that true?
I don't know.
There's other 3-row EVs.
Yeah, there sure are.
Like,
and
a Rivian R1S is a 3-row SUV.
I would
and
say
that's a fabulous vehicle.
The EV9, I
EV9.
I haven't driven it, but it looks.
I've been an EV9. It's nice.
Great. Yeah. I would say the Model S is like one of the muskiest Teslas you can get. So and buying one used, oh my God, the reliability on those doors and everything, and especially if you don't like Musk, this is the thing that people really need to understand. You can't get a Tesla service anywhere else. You cannot service your Tesla with that. So like people who are like, oh, but mine's old and I bought it before Elon was crazy and I've got the bumper sticker and all that. Great. Like, I don't want to be an asshole about this, but like you cannot get your car serviced without putting $1 in Elon's pocket.
This is a very important question to ask you. What year Tesla? Is it okay?
It's a great question.
At what year does the bumper sticker no longer become even plausibly true?
Yeah. So
For me, 2020 is it.
Yeah, I'd say if you're like, if you want to consider yourself a hater, I feel like 2018 is the right. That was the pedo guy. That was for me the thing where it was like I was like kind of willing to go, but there were people who were like fans who all of a sudden were like defending him, calling the guy a pedophile, and I was like, wait a second, you don't need to be doing this.
Another guy, someone brought up pedo guy the other day at a press launch I was at, and somebody was like, well, it could have meant, and actually gamed out the other things it could have meant.
No.
Just like the people who game out the other things a Sieg Heil could mean. It's like, at a political rally fucking twice, and this guy's supposed to run shit, and he's not dumb enough to not Sieg Heil twice at a fascist rally.
And then Bannon was like, this is like a good idea.
People just don't need to do this stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so 2018, I would say if you bought one during the pandemic, you've lost so much money on it that like. You paid your your indulgence.
So I couldn't even remember the guy's name, and we didn't stop and look at it downstairs. But the car that has been here the longest, because we opened in the middle of the pandemic, is a Model X. Oh, it is a 2020, I guess.
Probably, yeah.
It came in here with 1,700 miles on it in September of 2020, and the guy had fucked off to his other house in Europe.
Okay.
And he's never come back, and the car's never left, and it has just it was $175,000, and he pays every month. His credit card goes through, and I don't know, whatever, but like this thing has fucking probably burned $1,500 a month in depreciation just sitting there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
In the least depreciating circumstance, right? In temperature controlled, exactly where you want it. Yeah. This is why like, everyone for years has been like, oh, Tesla's, they're just gonna, this is the cutting edge of the future that we're all gonna just live in. And when you dig into the stories of individual Tesla, I make fun of Alex Roy, my co-host on the Autonocast, all the time about this stuff, because he's like, my Model 3 is the greatest car I've ever owned. I'm like, bro, you own a Citroen SM and a Morgan three-wheeler.
Right,
like, people need to understand this context when you say stuff like that.
You have the two worst cars ever made.
Like, great, amazing cars in their way, but terrible in their own way. So, like, I get it. When you say the Model 3 is great, like, now I know what you mean, and I can agree with you. But, like, without that context, people will get the wrong idea.
Yeah. I love him. But like, he buys like sadistic cars. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He buys cars where, like, if he were to call me one day and be like, my car turned into 3 cars after hitting a pothole, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Koji says, Ed, still got the Z3M Coupe.
I do.
Is that the car you drive? Is that your car?
Yeah, so I have that, and I have a Tacoma.
Okay, of course, because Portland.
Well, and really the vast majority of my driving is to the mountain or to, the desert or somewhere.
What are we doing on the mountain?
I ski. My partner snowboards.
Nice. Stolaberg. Shout out to Stolaberg, who has a question. But that reminds me, Stolaberg sent us the Taconic Distillery sampler section. Ooh, one of my favorite whiskeys from New York. We got the bourbon, we've got the rye, and we've got the maple bourbon dessert one in celebration of the 1000. Shout out to Stolaberg, who says, any insight about the story about 4 Tesla dealers, which we need to probably review what that word means, but who said they sold 8,653 cars in 3 days in Canada.
Yeah, so I saw the reporting around that. I'm working on this book on the self-driving stuff and organizing protests. So unfortunately, and also putting on a AV event here, which is why I'm here in LA. So I had a lot on my plate. I'm not really doing day-to-day reporting on stuff like this right now. So unfortunately, I don't have. Thanks for the whiskey. I don't have great insight for you on that. What I will say, though, is that one of the things that has changed fundamentally is that for the first time, we have regulators who don't see their job as sort of going easy on Tesla. I think in Canada in particular. I think
in other countries, not
in
here.
In other countries, critically. So I'm very much looking forward to Canada bringing the smackdown on this stuff and not giving them an inch.
Europe too, maybe.
I sure hope so. And boy, Europe probably has a lot of rope to play with there, because I do not think Tesla's been really like in compliance with the whole type approval.
I saw there was a big drop in Norway, but then it kind of came back.
Yeah, Norway. So Europe can be a little spiky because of how they do deliveries, especially because most of them are coming out of China now. And so, but no, I mean, I think across the board, I think 30, 40, 50, 60. I think Germany was down like 70%.
Germany was done 49% in the first 2 months of the year, so it's year over year.
Okay.
Norway down 44% year over year.
France was the one that was down like 60%, and was that in January or February?
Let me see.
Okay, I have some of these are kind of interesting. Okay, I think this one is intended to somehow challenge you. I don't really agree, but Nice Cam says, Ed, do you agree with the sentiment that Tesla is no longer simply a car company. I feel Matt and Zach don't understand that much of the stock price upside is heavily weighted on software, service, Doge, and their potential in the humanoid industry. Would you not agree?
So it's Dojo, not Doge.
Is Dojo different? I thought that was a typo.
No,
What's Dojo?
Dojo is their AI training, or it's for the self-driving training.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was a typo and it was Doge. Okay, Dojo. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, believe me, it's hard to keep a ruler straight. Look, so yeah, I agree that as a stock, so Tesla is no longer simply a car company in the sense that it's a stock pump, right? Like in a lot of ways, what Ludicrous is about,
but not in the way that you think.
Yeah. So the stock pump has overtaken the company, right? Obviously, there's no way as a car company to justify the valuation. So of course, but is any of the stuff that they're doing real? I would say no. Right? It's been 8 years since full self-driving has been out. It's been padding their margins and everything, but they aren't delivering on it. It's not, and the thing that I would really urge people to understand about the self-driving thing too is that like Elon's not even talking about the only thing that matters, which is we take legal liability at a certain point.
Yeah,
that's when something becomes self-driving. He's not even
He's not even implying.
Right.
Yeah.
And Mercedes did that, didn't they?
They did with their L3 system. Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, that was a big
there's
step.
sort of a couple of asterisks on it too, as it's not a full 100%.
It's legal responsibility, not necessarily full legal liability. Yeah, there are some lawyerly nuances to that.
Sure, there is a difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But on a fundamental level, you're sort of broadly saying when this system is active, all things being equal.
Yeah.
And of course, it's we have the responsibility for it. So Tesla's not even talking about doing that. So like the idea that it's ever going to be anything more than what it is today is there's just no reason to believe that. The humanoid stuff is frankly absurd. Again, it's right. The idea that a level 5 autonomous vehicle is like fully self-driving, no human input in an unbounded operating domain is like the most ambitious form of that technology, and a humanoid is like one of the few forms of automation, a general purpose humanoid robot.
It's like beyond that.
That's even more ambitious. And it's like, and again, this is really in a lot of ways.
It's so funny to distract you from the failure of the automated car.
Yep.
He's fucking waving his other hand over here at the automated robot, which if you think about it for 2 seconds is so much harder to make than the automated car that they're not even close to.
And this is the real, again, we're talking about, always having to have something around the corner to aspire to. This is Elon's biggest problem right now. It's not just that the company's failing and they have nothing really to turn it around. It's that there is nowhere else to go. He's in the White House. He's the shadow president.
Yeah.
He's promising a race of like mechanical slaves that will usher us into a post-scarcity environment where, everything is abundant and
all that's left is
the laws
I
of
am
economics.
God.
It's apocalyptic.
There's nothing left past that.
Literally,
he's run out of promises because the technology, a lot of Silicon Valley is built on like, we're going to have this tech.
Right.
Give us the money, and then they get the money, and then they make the tech. But the tech is a little bit more grounded or realistic. Possible. There's obviously cases like what's her name that went sideways or this. But with him, he's promised all this stuff. It's been so long.
Right.
The tech hasn't caught up.
Right.
And he's running out of things to say. He's running out of magic tricks and promises. Like your kid is going to be disappointed you didn't show up for the baseball game at a certain point, and like you can't say you're going to and never show up.
Yeah, and exactly, it's not promising something and then delivering it eventually or late or whatever. It's promising something and then replacing that with distracting people with another promise and another promise, and each of those promises has been bigger and bigger and bigger. And this is how confidence games work, right? You can't say forget about that thing that I promised you. Here's a worse promise.
Yeah,
that doesn't work. It has to always be escalating.
It's always escalating.
And this is the problem is like, what is he going to do? Like it's got to be like a Gundam suit or like, something like, or like a orbiting, an orbital space station or something, or maybe it's the Golden Dome or something. You know what I mean? Like
well, now he's got the fucking keys to the government. So now he maybe could, at least try and promise something on that scale.
In theory, but the problem is that where does that leave stockholders in Tesla?
Right.
Then that's just another distraction.
Yeah.
Because like Starlink operates well, but it's a separate thing. SpaceX does a separate thing. But Tesla stockholders specifically, who are invested in a stock that trades at 12 times the PE ratio of Ford.
Yeah.
and has no forward promise of revenue
Yeah.
right now that exists.
Yeah.
So unless every car starts driving itself, making the owners money, and then making Tesla huge amounts of money,
Yep.
they don't have a product that they go, this is going to justify 12 times, the ratio that Ford has.
And this is the thing about the haters knowing more than the fans is that the haters remember stuff. So that's the other thing. The fans can't let themselves remember anything, because if they do, it makes it look really bad, because this is exactly what's happened. People don't remember that, for example, 2012 was the Supercharger launch, and they said every Supercharger will be 100% solar powered and will create more power than the cars actually use.
Yeah.
2012.
Yeah.
Like, this is more than a decade ago.
It's not. I mean, it's not even anywhere close.
I don't think there's
obviously.
one Supercharger that does that. Like, and again, people just forget it. People just let this, and again, I think this is also something in the internet era. There's something new every day
Right.
to
Yeah.
get excited about, and so you just forget. We're kind of living in this like constant, like, eternal now, where it's like,
Dude, it's real. I do my best to keep up with things, and I'm so overwhelmed with it that I can't possibly. And if you're that kind of like debate bro type of guy that can like dance around and take advantage of the fact that the flood of information is so great, I can't possibly fucking hit every ball thrown at me. It's important.
this is literally why I had to write a book. I mean, it's not fun. I don't enjoy it. It's like the worst thing a person can do to themselves is write a book. But like, you have to do it because you're absolutely right. Like, otherwise, people don't build up this sense of perspective over time that allows them to see things for what they are. You have to put it all.
Well, the advantage, the book focuses on one subject.
Yes.
But we, Matt or myself, for you, anyone who's paying attention to the news, it's every subject. Like, you have to be an expert in all these things, and you can't be, and then you can't keep up, and you just move on to the next day.
One more quick one. Let's add actually two more. But Goodwood revives me. I think we addressed it. How did Tesla drop the innovation ball so hard? I think you said the fan, the exodus of talent and support. That's where the innovation actually came from. It didn't come from Elon.
Yeah.
And then go up. I think the. Were there a lot more?
There's one more.
Okay,
It's this one.
then we'll finish them. Okay, then let's go down because I like Choonhounds as the last one there. Mr. Go For It. If there is a push for U.S. sales of U.S.-built automobiles, who will benefit? Will Tesla be one of those that benefit? If foreign-built car prices increase due to tariffs, will Tesla be isolated from the price increases?
Yes and no. I mean, so absolutely, I think that it was interesting that Trump sort of said something about how, like, oh, this applies to Tesla too or whatever. But the reality is that I think what the tariffs are doing is trying to get Tesla back to the one time where its core business actually looked really good, which was during the pandemic, when there was a structural undersupply for the first time in auto industry history since World War II.
Yeah.
Essentially, right? And so, this is the best way they have of sort of recreating, right? And like, at least they're not creating another pandemic.
Yeah,
right?
And it may negatively affect Tesla, but if let's say it negatively affects Tesla 5% and it negatively affects Ford and GM 25%, that's basically a 20% gift to Tesla.
It is. The problem is that Tesla is tanking anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people just don't want the cars the way that they used to.
Alex Roy is calling your phone right now. You can put him on speaker. Put him on speaker next to the mic if you want. Yeah.
Alex Roy.
Edward, how are you?
Closer.
You'll never guess where I am at this moment.
With Matt Farah at a protest right now?
At a protest now.
I can't go to protests, Alex. I have to be objective about the cars. I can't proactively say that the guy's a fascist, unless on my own podcast where I can.
Wait, you are with Matt Farah?
We are literally live
We're
right
recording
now.
the show, Alex.
You're on the air.
I just guessed it.
You're on the air right now.
No.
Yeah.
All right, well...
Ed will call you back.
All right.
All right, bye.
Yeah, I'll see you
Two more.
soon.
He'll call you in 2 questions.
Bye.
Okay. Was there one?
it.
Was there one down, Zach? Oh, we did that one.
yeah.
Oh, the tariff thing.
Yeah. So, I just think Tesla, and we'll see. Like, Q1 numbers are really critical here, right? Like, we'll see what the Q1 numbers are doing. I think that the brand is toxic. I think, the tariffs can only help so much. That's the funny thing about the whole him being in the White House. The president can only do so much to help Tesla as a company. It can help Elon. Like, they can create all kinds of other things.
Ultimately, they
But-
can't force people to buy the cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Which and we're going to end on Choonhound's question. Ed, what is the responsible way of disposing with one's Tesla? Dumping it at a huge loss and buying a different EV seems exceedingly irresponsible and further pushes the notion that consumer choices can change the world. Spoiler, it can't.
Yeah.
Bringing a canvas bag to Whole Foods or getting a different EV won't solve climate change.
It's an interesting topic.
I mean, there's a lot in there.
Yeah.
Both can be true. Mm-hmm. They're not mutually exclusive. I mean,
Yeah. So I think the unique situation here is that I mean, look, like the lesson that you can't consume your way to a better world. Like, Tesla is the object lesson in that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people thought that, and I have it's funny, one of my Blue Sky posts that apparently gets passed around on like Instagram and stuff is basically like, there's a good chance that driving a gas car for the last 5 years or whatever would have been less harmful to the planet than supporting Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I can't remember how I phrased it, but it was something like that. And I think it's worth thinking about. Like, I don't think people should be, obviously, like if you want to buy an EV and if you think that you feel a sense of environmental responsibility, do that. Don't do it. But I think, look, an EV is not going to change the world, but nothing. I think people get hung up on the idea of transformative change. The reality is that things change little bits at a time.
Mm-hmm.
All any of us can do. Like, we're all, constantly bombarded. We've just been talking about this a lot about all of the shit, right? In the news and things that are happening, and it all feels so overwhelming. And like, this is what feels good about going to a protest. Is like, it's not changing. That's not going to fix everything, but it does drive some awareness. It is a little thing that I can do to not only feel better for myself, but to help sort of other people understand where I'm coming from and the perspective. I also think the unique thing here is, and again, this is what I've been trying to say about this whole boycott, is that if he weren't as vulnerable as he is, I think the situation looks really different. I think the reason that boycott and divestment is such a cool, like, amazing opportunity right now is because, again, his wealth looks like the Death Star. Tesla is the thermal port. Mm-hmm. Like, it is the flaw, is because it's the only business that actually is a business, and it's failing.
I think Choonhound's sentiment, buying an EV doesn't change the world.
Yeah.
Using a canvas bag doesn't change the world.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. There's systematic problems that go beyond consumer choice.
Yes.
However, your point that at this very specific time in history,
That's right.
dumping one of those specific cars
Yes.
at a financial loss
Yes.
will have an outsized impact compared to any other point with any other consumer product potentially in your lifetime.
That's exactly right. Thank you for putting it so concisely and
I
clearly.
don't know if that was concise.
No.
But that's
was
what I get from it.
Yeah, that was 100%.
You actually can make much more of a difference than you would normally make
Yes.
by dumping that car at a loss and publicly.
Especially in the United States.
Yeah.
Again, because
Fucking
in China,
sling it on cars and bids, no reserve.
Yes.
Let it go.
Yep. Because
And
not only
photograph it dirty.
Yeah, and people ask, right? So one of the things is to get like lease financing, right? The resale value plays a factor in that.
Yeah.
And so if you sell at a loss, yes, you are taking a loss. You are also, that loss is making it harder for Tesla to get new lease financing, which
Yeah.
is one of the ways that they're keeping their sales from falling faster.
And you can mitigate your environmental negligence there by dumping a, quote, perfectly good car, by moving it laterally into a used EV.
Yeah.
And not buying a brand new one from somewhere else.
That's
Buy
a
one
better-
that's
I think
already
that's
here.
a good idea because asking someone to like sell it at a big loss below market value or whatever and then spend more money ultimately won't have a huge effect overall.
Right.
But I think a lateral move is great, but also you could turn driving into a protest like you every day. Like, because right now the Tesla Cybertruck and other cars are starting to be seen, I think, the same way you see like a truck with an American flag on it, right?
Right.
I've talked to a lot of friends about this in a lot of different states, and it used to just be a thing. You didn't see it very often.
Yep.
But now it's like a statement. You probably know where they align politically, and it's not as general as it used to be. It's very specific.
Yeah, the American flag is like used as like a threatening thing now. Pretty much.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know what the
you know, a lot of socialists
would be.
flying the fucking stars and stripes right now. Like I don't.
Right. So
like,
Tesla cars might be seen the same way, and if people are worried about either being seen as supporting him or the agenda, a bumper sticker of some kind is probably more valuable than it's ever been because you're saying to people, like, I align with the people protesting.
Yeah, so that's what I say is at a minimum, like the more you do to turn your Tesla into a symbol, because that's exactly the point of it is to stigmatize the brand. And so you can drive a Tesla around and have it be an advertisement for stigmatizing the brand.
Yeah.
It can be a rolling protest. I would say if you really can't get rid of your car, do that.
Yeah, you could wrap it or like you could fucking change it aesthetically and make it be a protest if you really want to.
You could do all kinds of things.
Yeah,
make it an art car. You know, you mentioned the dealership thing. I've been seeing since there's been so much coverage of these protests that all of the mainstream media call it dealerships. I do worry a little bit that people think that these are like dealerships and don't understand that like, no, like every time you get your Tesla serviced, that is
factory
directly.
store.
And by the way, in Q4, and again, we'll see Q1 numbers are going to be huge. We got like 3 weeks still to wait for them. And they're going to be really important. But in Q4, the only two parts, the auto sales revenue and profit margins were down. The only two parts of the business that were growing were energy generation, which is and storage and generation. So it's the roofs
and the power walls
and superchargers.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then the other one was service. So superchargers and service are two of the only parts of the business that are actually growing. From a stock psychology perspective in particular, it's almost more important that we cut service and supercharger revenue than it is than we cut sales, because the sales are already taking care of themselves.
Well, if someone can buy one from their house, they got to show up to somewhere to get it serviced.
That's right.
So you could make that experience unpleasant and inconvenient.
A lot of Tesla service centers are already closed on the weekends because of the protest. Yeah. And that's the biggest one of that and the White House sales thing. Those are the sorts of things that tell us that we're winning.
What's more embarrassing, Trump hawking a fucking Model S or the meme coin? I guess the meme coin's probably more embarrassing because it's just like open ways to bribe the president by buying the meme coin. But
I think this is worse because he mispronounced the brand name and he was surprised by screens and he talked about it as if he hadn't seen a car for 30 years, 20 years.
He probably fucking hasn't.
But I mean, he's been in, Escalades or something, but he was like, wow, screen. Holy shit.
But see,
thanks, Grandpa.
Did you know that Trump actually owned a Tesla Roadster?
Does he know he owned one?
Did he? Yeah. Really?
Yeah, he may have forgotten by this point because it was quite a long time ago. But yeah, he did own a Tesla Roadster at one point, and that's like, okay, I can see Trump owning a Tesla Roadster, but that's like the only Tesla I could see him sort of like opening DuPont, whatever, and being like
DuPont
that one.
Registry,
That's the one. I want one of those. The rest of them. Again, like I think it's worse. I think the meme coin is fine because everyone in that it's not fine. It's
not
everyone
fine.
in
It's really bad.
everyone
It's
in that
really
world.
Even the crypto world was like, this is bad.
No, it's horrible. But like, it's just something, right? He's a grifter. It's a thing that grifters do, and it fits his brand. The problem with Tesla is that
crimes definitely fit the brand.
It just doesn't. Yeah, bribery, corruption. It's all on brand for him. Tesla isn't though, and he couldn't fake it. And if your thing is being a salesman, there are some things that certain salesmen can sell and certain things that you just can't. There's gotta be that alignment.
He can pitch bad steaks, but not believable when it's
fake
bad
universities.
Cars.
There's a lot of things that Trump can sell really well. Most of them are pretty obviously grifty. Yeah. But like the Tesla thing, he doesn't get the appeal. He doesn't get the brand.
Also,
he doesn't
I
get
don't
the
think he
tech.
benefits financially as much.
Yeah.
Like he benefits from having Elon either be his patsy to cut power out of the government or whatever, but he's not like there's no direct conduit of like if I pitch this Tesla, I get a check.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's like, sure, I'll do. My kid wants me to help him sell
like,
candy bars.
I gave you $230 million. Now please help save my sinking company.
Well, the other part of this too is that if you know the history, Elon has parachuted into Tesla at the last 2 or 3, 4 weeks at the end of the quarter. Like for years, this is what he does. He spends 2.5 months ignoring it. Then he gets his sales report, realizes, oh shit, things are not looking so good. And this is when,
does a little shell game.
The meme machine grinds into life and he makes the magic happen. Well, now, right, his way of doing it is have the president selling them and everything. What's important about this, I think, to understand is that, like, that doesn't work for what they're trying to do. Like, I think what they're trying to do of making, Tesla is like the new MAGA thing. I think that they could get there, but it would take a long, sustained marketing, like real big marketing brand shifts like this. It's not just one and done. You don't just jump in 2 weeks before the end of the quarter, have a press, a little show in front of the White House, and then both of them are just like, boop, done,
Making
that's it.
Republicans like electric cars? That's a fucking campaign, dude.
Yeah.
That's not you don't do that on a weekend.
Especially the sort of people who are like, solid Republicans.
You need like a Pat Buchanan and a fucking Glenn Beck for that kind of shit, or
you gotta
Steve Bannon.
You got to have the codes, the referral codes out to all of the right-wing media. You got to have months of that stuff. What they're trying to do could be done. The problem is that they're both like kind of ADHD cases, I think, a little bit, and they both have so many things going on that they're just sort of jumping in, and they're so drunk on power too. Is the real thing is they think that one 20-minute little show in front of the White House, that this is like the ultimate power, and that this is just going to fix everything, and they're going to wait another quarter to realize, oh wait, that didn't do shit.
I want to say very quickly, we should say that we support the non-violent, non-destructive protests at Tesla establishments. We're not, and you're not advocating for the other kinds.
I definitely always take the opportunity to say there is also no relationship between the violence. The FBI said it themselves. It happened, individuals, randomly, middle of the night. No relationship to the peaceful protests. Like I said, come down, even in Portland that supposedly was burnt down by Antifa in 2020, most radical extremists. And we're out there dancing, we're doing street theater, we got bubbles, we got music.
It's very Portland.
There's Teslas just sitting there. In fact, there's like this lot that's right by where we protest, where there's like this like dark corner where they just have like 3 Teslas kind of totally off from the rest of the dealership. I mean, I don't want to be conspiratorial, but like, pretty clearly, if there was any tendency towards violence among the protesters, like these vehicles seem like they're just sort of hidden away, and it would be so easy to vandalize. No one's touched them.
Right.
No one's touched
Watch
them.
out for the agent provocateur situation.
A small number of incidents and a large number of protests that are massively covered on media.
Yeah, and again, there's no. It's not like the protests are turning violent.
Yeah.
Except for when guys try and drive their cars into them.
Right. That guy got arrested.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Thanks, Ed.
Yeah.
I look forward to coming by the AI conference
we didn't even
tomorrow.
talk about that.
This is going to air after it anyway,
yeah.
so I'll talk about it later, how it was.
Yep.
But I can't wait to read your next book. Ludicrous is mandatory reading.
I can't wait to be done writing it.
Where is the best place for people to buy Ludicrous?
Let's see. I guess Ben Bella. I don't know, buy it anywhere. Yeah, Ben Bella, BenBellaBooks.com.
BenBellaBooks.com.
Honestly, buy it anywhere, though.
Not Amazon.
I mean, ideally not Amazon.
Money.
Yeah.
Bookshop.org. I fuck with bookshop.org.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Powell's, Portland.
Powell's.
Yeah, except that they never have it in stock.
Find your local indie bookstore and have them order it for you.
Please.
If there's a cat there, even better.
Yes.
Our local bookstore has a cat.
Yep.
Its name is Paige.
I think I get paid a little bit more on the audiobook, so if you're into that.
Oh, do you? Did you read it?
No, I did not read it.
Who read it? Did someone awesome?
An actor. I got the choice of 3 guys. It was like, not that guy. Oh no, not that guy. Oh no, and I ended up going back with the first guy. It was a weird. I mean, he's great.
If I ever read a book, I'm springing for like the full Morgan Freeman. I want this book to sound like gospel.
I mean, maybe you should read my book.
I'll happily fucking do someone's audiobook. I think it would be
I feel like
great.
you've got a good.
I could do an audiobook. I'm like budget Seth Rogen.
Because I know I couldn't.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think you could either.
Yeah, it would not
I like
be
you on radio. I don't know if I need you to read your book.
I can do a
today.
conversation, but no.
I feel like if I listened to your audiobook by you, and no offense, like I would go, did I turn this up to 2 speed? Nope, still at 1. Like you're a fast talker.
I am a fast talker.
Yeah.
That's true.
Niedermeyer on Blue Sky.
Niedermeyer.online.
Niedermeyer.online on Blue Sky.
And the World Wide Web. It's also my blog.
Und the World Wide Web. Yeah, dude, thank you for coming by. We really
thanks for having
appreciate
me.
it. And the podcast, of course, with
Autonocast,
Alex Roy,
autonocast.com.
Autonocast, with our good friend Alex Roy.
And Kirsten Korsak.
And Kirsten, right. Sorry about that. Thanks, dude. We will see you very soon. This is a good time.
Always so much fun.
Bye, everybody. Thank you to our patrons asking such good questions today, and we will see you next week.